Hey, what's up, guys? Little video this evening on new moon nihilism. So combining a little astrology and philosophy here. I'm not super big on the transits, but I guess since I'm a Cancer sun sign, I'm at least a little bit affected by what's going on with the moon. But I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart that kind of, suppresses that and keeps me neutral. But it is 12:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. on May 13th, 2021. And we're really just getting out of the new moon phase in Taurus. So the sun's in Taurus, the new moon's in Taurus. That's normal. A new moon happens in the same sign as whatever the sun is in at that time. A full moon is opposite. Full moon is the opposite sign to whatever sign the sun is in at any given time. And so I guess this could kind of apply to any new moon situation, although I'm not an expert on transits as much as I am on natal chart readings. I do natal chart readings. You can check the link in my description below for that on my website. But just wanted to talk about what is in the air right now. And that is, philosophically speaking, a very nihilistic attitude among people. I don't have a whole lot of contact with people on a day-to-day basis, but based on the few people I have been around, who I have texted with, who, I've seen their posts, I've seen a lot of people's posts online and everything, and there's a very nihilistic attitude that's sort of overlying lots of current events. Of course, there's always a lot to be upset over if you let that sort of thing get to you, whatever's in the news feed. But that actually calls into question what we should be focusing on, I think, during a new moon phase. And so it's new moon in Taurus. And so new moon is really about shadow work, as far as I understand it. And the shadow side of Taurus is its opposite sign, which is Scorpio. And there is definitely a scorpionic flavor to nihilism as a philosophy, Nihilism is the philosophy, roughly speaking, of that nothing really matters, that truth doesn't really exist, that life is meaningless, that we can't really know anything. Nihilism breaks down into lots of little sub-philosophies, but they all reduce to relativism. Relativism is basically the philosophy that truth doesn't exist and that it's whatever you want it to be. Of course, that doesn't work from a purely logical standpoint, because to say that truth does not exist, you're making a truth claim. You're presupposing things about language that are true before you can even say that, and I can receive that message in a meaningful way. So it sort of collapses in on itself, We can say that life is meaningless and let all sorts of things get us down, but that doesn't mean that we're right about that, because if that were the case, then the only logical possibility would be to commit suicide, it would seem. But that wouldn't work either, because you would be making a value judgment in doing that. You would be saying, no, it's worth more for me to be dead than it is for me to be alive. That doesn't work, because you're presupposing that things have value, that your being dead has value. You get it? So relativism doesn't exist. It doesn't work. It doesn't hold, And so a new moon phase, as far as I understand it, does call into question sort of shadow darkness. And I have noticed a lot of people paying more attention to the esoteric the last few days as the new moon kind of approached and as we were kind of going through it. And that's great, any way you can deal with that, deal with your, whatever shadow work you have to do. is great. But most people don't like to do that. Most people would rather just kind of take a nihilistic attitude about their life in general, and project that on other people and see what's going on in the news, and let that have a grapple on their psyche, on their attitude, and it just kind of makes you a party pooper, So people don't necessarily like to face their shadow. They don't necessarily like to do the things that a new moon phase brings forth. But it's important, And if not anything else, then what you should do is focus on yourself, If that means separating yourself from other people, maybe that can be fine. But in any case, you don't want to judge the world or judge other people just because you have a bad attitude about whatever it is that's going on in your life or in the world today. I wrote an essay a while back, and in it there was had a little quotation in that essay that said, make sure you change yourself before you attempt to change the world. For to do that right will take a lifetime. Changing yourself, that would take a lifetime, The meaning being that we pretty much are as we are, and we can improve ourselves, but we so quickly jump to the external and the things that we really have no control over at all, and try to change those things when really there's something deeper, more personal inside of ourselves that we should be facing. And that's what shadow work is really all about. And that's one of the things that the new moon really brings forth. And when that is brought forth, again, a nihilistic attitude can result from that and feel overwhelming, So, hermit if you have to. Try to avoid substances. And I don't know. I think I'm feeling the effects of this new moon phase a little more than I have of the past. Maybe it's because I'm a little more aware of astrological transits and things like that nowadays. But as people are still kind of locked down and in their own space and left alone with their own thoughts, seems like each phase gets darker and darker, doesn't it? Get out in nature. Don't be so scorpionic in a bad way, that is, Maybe some of that could be channeled into sexual energy, or maybe it's taking the form of sexual energy. So you want to have a healthy outlet for that too, if that's the case, because that's kind of been the case for me. And kind of felt weird about calling somebody up to help me deal with that. So I've just kind of kept to myself for the most part, not to get too deep into that. But use it as an opportunity. Use this sort of transit as an opportunity to just look inward, and to really meditate on it, and do some yin yoga if that helps. Some deep breathing exercises, engage that parasympathetic nervous system, some deep inhales, deeper and longer exhales, and find ways to relax and take it easy when you're not fulfilling, your day-to-day grinding, monotonous tasks. You could even find some meditative value in some of those monotonous tasks if you have the right mindset, But just, whatever works for you. To sort of put a damper on that nihilistic attitude, because remember, that's a philosophy in itself that's not true. It doesn't hold. We can know things. Things do have meaning, and no, it's not necessarily by our own volition, but it is by our own volition that we act on behalf of what is true and on behalf of what is meaningful. And find value and really gratitude in the little things as well. I think gratitude is the attitude that you always want to carry, regardless of what the stupid moon is doing. You know what I mean? So be indifferent to what you can't control. That's your mindset, kind of stoic, you know, and be grateful in your attitude about all things, about reality as it is, about you as you are, about the fact that you can do better and become better, and be grateful for the people in your life, you know. Drop some L-bombs if it helps you, you know. I'm not too big on that, you know, but of course that's the Capricorn in me. So anyway, those are just a few things I wanted to say about this new moon phase in Taurus and nihilism. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel. Check my website out. I do natal chart readings, but also I combine elements of Myers-Briggs and Big Five theory as well for a very complete and thorough reading. And you get an audio file with that as well. It's a good deal. And check me out on the other links below, Instagram and whatnot. And hope you guys have a good night and that things get better for you. All right? Cheers, guys. See you in the next video.